Well, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to everyone, wherever you may be across our lovely world. Thanks for joining us live here again for the one and only Serverless Office Hours. We are streaming on the AWS Twitch channel, and also if you're joining us via YouTube on the AWS Events channel, welcome. It is great to have you wherever you're joining us. My name's Julian. I'm a developer advocate who does mostly serverless stuff here at AWS. And this week we have the proper gurus coming in. No disrespect to all the other previous gurus we've had, but these aren't people at AWS who pay to talk about AWS. They sort of hopefully love it and enjoy it. And so we've got Helton and Andres joining us here today. First up, Andres, welcome to Serverless Office Hours. First-timer, community builder, a serverless expert extraordinaire. How have you landed up doing what you do, and why serverless? Is that a strange question or not?
I have an answer though. So I'm Andres, principal architect at Helton. I landed with serverless probably at the same time as Alan. We used to work together for like 10 years, but we started getting into serverless, making our lives easier, and we're here, we're building, and, and we're here to talk about something pretty exciting, but I'll let Alan introduce himself.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, well, welcome, Alan. I didn't actually realize you'd worked together for 10 years. I knew you'd known each other, but working is awesome. So sort of, live stream besties. I like it.
Yeah, we worked at the same company for like 10 years. I think we were on the same team for probably 4 of those years. And Andres likes to say that I was his boss for that entire time. I don't like saying it, but I was the one that said it today. Yeah. And yes, we got into serverless at the exact same time because we were on the same team, and that fit our workload. But anyway, my name's Alan Helton. I am an AWS hero, a serverless hero, and an ecosystem engineer at Momento. And I'm excited to talk about the project that we've been working on. I think this is going to resonate a lot with the people that listen to this show.
Excellent, love it. Well, it is slightly sort of meta and slightly inception, because we are talking about AI for content creators, and we are sort of creating content here and on a live stream. But also, if you're watching, please remember this is live. That's why you've joined us live. And if you're watching us in the future, well, welcome. But the fun bit of joining us live is also that you can ask questions and do comments. So put that in the chat as well. We'd be happy to answer your service questions. This is great. With 2 serverless experts, I don't have to fumble the answers and make all the mistakes that I do. And we've got some proper gurus who in the trenches doing things who can answer all your awesome questions as well. So today we're talking about AI for content creators. I mean, your project you've created, Andres, over to you. Like, what is it? Why did you do it? What is even content creation, and why did you think we needed something cool?
So if you followed Alan and I for a while, we've been doing live streams. We've kind of paused for a little bit, but we've been doing live streams every other week. And it requires a lot of planning. And we really did some heavy focus on the post-processing of the live stream. So we wanted to keep engagement going even afterwards, right? So once the live stream's out, very rare that you're going to go watch a 1 hour, 2 hour recording afterwards. So we wanted to get bite-sized chunks of the live stream that would provide value to our viewers, be it YouTube Shorts, right? That's one of the channels and avenues we're trying to push for. And that post-processing really took us a long time, a lot of editing, finding the specific pieces that we wanted to share, which is what drove us to build Encore. It's what we call it's what we call this application. Anything you want to add, Alan?
Yeah, I want to reiterate the problem. You said it really well, but I think we can really drive home why. Because Andres and I, we do a live stream every 2 weeks. We have for a couple of years at this point. And a lot of times it's exploring new things. We're trying to figure out, is the developer experience right? Toward the latter half of 2025, we were really focusing on AI agent design principles because we saw the tide, trending that way. Everyone wants to learn about AI. So let's talk about building AI the right way, or production ready. And we usually stream for an hour. Sometimes it goes to an hour and a half. Andres is right. No one is going to watch that after the fact. We're gracious enough to get as many as we do during the live events, but afterwards. We have a lot of good information. We put a lot of effort into planning. And, we even in our plan have certain things that we specifically want to say because it's really good information. But no one, again, is going to see it. So what we built was something that we can just drop our entire live stream into. And it goes and figures out using AI, what are these key moments that should be shared? And let's make those key moments, saving Andres and I don't know, we were probably spending 10 hours a week on pre and post processing. We both have full-time jobs. I have a farm. Both of us have kids. We have busy schedules for sure.
Yeah. So, two things I want to just slightly explore is one, video thing is one of the great things to do because live streams are live. You can go for it, even recorded video and all that kind of thing. But for even me as a so-called content creator, it is the most time-consuming medium to do things because it's not just the content creation part of it, but anything in video is huge files, it's huge time suck. Yeah, editing videos, like, oh. So I mean, I'm also, this is why this piqued my excitement because they have, even what you're doing, the AI to split things up and do everything. I'm waiting for AI to get sort of way better at, just generating videos and splicing things together and do awesome stuff like that. Our producer Jeff is online and he edits and he says, "Lol, I like editing." Apologies, Jeff. I know it's your job, but something that AI could certainly help with as well. So yeah, that's on the one side. I completely resonate with that as well. But then the other part is actually, just before we get onto all the video stuff, you're talking about the AI and agentic and that kind of thing. And as you are, non-AWS, I mean, you're not having to be like us and try and talk about the services and products we do and solutions. And I mean, I'll be honest, AWS has amazing things for AI, but what are you actually seeing in the industry? Are you actually seeing customers building things, and what are sort of some cool use cases that you've been building or exploring? And my sort of follow-on question from that is, because I also think that serverless and agentic AI is a sort of perfect match made in heaven. So it'll be interesting just to see from your perspective what that's actually looking like.
Go ahead, Andres. You're in this all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, at Kalen, I've been working a lot with a lot of agentic solutions, providing these solutions to clients. Obviously, as part of our company, we work very heavily in AWS. So I've been playing around with a lot of the new stuff that's been coming up with agents and kind of the whole stack you have for building agents, right? And we have Agent Core as one piece and all the other things around it. So I've definitely seen a lot of, and again, I don't work for AWS, but I still rely heavily on what AWS does. And I've seen a lot of great impact on reducing the amount of things I have to do to get these things working. So like I said, a lot of Agent Core, making observability easy, making it easy to call tools, making it easy to get a little bit of memory for multi-turn conversations with an agent, and all those pieces stitched together really provide good solutions for clients. Because one thing that I am very proud of trying to do, I won't say I do it all the time, is to make things easy to build, easy to maintain, easy to run. And people seem to enjoy that when they can read the code and understand, oh, it's doing exactly this. They can look at a diagram and say, okay, it's going from here, here, to here, and not exploding into 18 different places and people just getting confused. So that's a lot of what I try to do.
Cool. And any sort of customer use cases that you have been worked on or seen or explored, which you were like, oh, wow, that is cool.
There's many. I mean, one is video production. Well, Erie would really enjoy that, but it's mostly getting marketing content via Gen AI. So not having to do your own animations and all those pieces is really interesting. We're not fully there yet. And I know there's a lot of models and it's expensive. Like we're talking about video, it's a lot of data. It's heavy data, but it's getting into a very interesting spot where if you've played with Sora and other type of models for generating video content, it's very interesting space. Like getting a clone of myself saying weird stuff, and it's not actually me, it's AI that made me. Very, very crazy. And I think there are a lot of people looking for that. You'll never know. You'll never know if it's me. I always dress up the same way. I'm not wearing a hat, which is kind of unusual. So maybe I'm AI. You don't know.
Cool. Fair enough. We won't rumble you if you aren't. Yeah. Cool. I don't want to distract too much because I will go on the side quests of all the kind of things. But yeah, just to welcome the people who have been joining. Peter Smith, welcome. When I was talking about the future, New Zealand is certainly in the future. So super early in the morning. So thanks for joining us as well. Daryl Ruggles, welcome back again. Lovely to see Daryl. Nice to see you all alive again. Absolutely. Victor. Hello, AWS, or hello, Victor. So, and then Peter did ask, well, in the future, will we have a 15-minute version of Serverless Office Hours? I suppose you can do that now. You can't quite do 4 times speed in YouTube. And I think you can do 3 times. So that's 20 minutes. But yes, and Higgy, our awesome AI person as well. Hello, folks, looking very human. So thanks very much for joining. So Encore, which of you wants to take it on? Tell us some cool stuff, architecture, demo, whatever. Encore.
I'll let you take it, Alan.
I'm happy to, Andres. You have slides, you have pictures, so I can talk to whatever's up.
Yep. Let's talk about the architecture. So, and we'll show off how all this looks and how everything ties together. But here's the architecture. Alan, drive it home.
Nice. I feel like I told you I reviewed these slides, but this doesn't look familiar. But we're gonna go with it.
Andres, the AI bots, just put up the slides.
Yeah,
with different slides.
This looks like probably, Julian, every diagram that you show on this show. There's no magic. Serverless is great because we have services that abstract all the hard things away from us, and we have the established patterns. So nothing on here really should be surprising, but there are some industry specific pieces in here that we threw in order to make it fully serverless. Now, did we have to? Absolutely not make this fully serverless. Did we want to? Yeah, because this is a side project and it's fun, and we want to see, can we do it? One of the workloads that people often say is not best suited for serverless is this. It's giant video processing and working with large amounts of data. So how do we figure out how to do that and fit that in a serverless workload? Let's just run an example as we talk through this architecture. So Andres and I use this with our show that we do, and it's roughly an hour. And I don't know, the file when we download it is probably like 4 gig, something like that. 4 gig in size for the hour long. We stream in 1080p. And so what we do is, we land on our homepage in this app, which is it's a React app hosted out of S3, nothing crazy in there. And we upload this video file via a pre-signed URL to S3. And what happens when you upload this big file to S3, it looks at the file type and it sees, okay, well, this is a video file. I'm going to go ahead and kick off MediaConvert. Andres, if you could use your mouse, just go over to that processing column just to kind of show where we are. We went from S3, which is right before, and we bounced on over to MediaConvert. And what MediaConvert is going to do is we actually have it converting the video to a streamable format. So it's actually chunking the video up into 2-minute segments and creating a manifest file, which basically lists all of those 2-minute segments in order, and then it saves those into S3. And when that's done, we have all the real-time notifications hooked up. That's where you see Memento topics, and it pushes real-time to the front end to say, hey, your thing is done. But what's cool about this is once we convert this 4 gig video file into n number of 2-minute chunks, I guess it's 30 2-minute chunks, we now have these pieces that are very easily workable inside of Lambda. And that's where Step Functions comes in. So whenever you click on this create clips button, or I think it might do it automatically, the whole Step Function workflow kicks off that looks at a transcript that we also upload. And we can talk about future cool enhancements that we're going to do to this. But it looks at the transcript. It's actually subtitles. It's an SRT file because an SRT file is the transcript, but has timestamps encoded on when things are spoken. So this workflow passes the SRT over to Nova, Amazon Nova via Bedrock. And it says, hey, what are the cool, memorable moments inside of this transcript? And it doesn't have to be contiguous moments. It can be little pieces here, little pieces there. Just come up with like a 15 second to a 1 minute long script that's cohesive, that makes sense, that illustrates a point. Comes up with those via an agent, and an agent returns the little segments, we call them. And the segments have timestamps on them and the transcript for these pieces.
So is that just a prompt going to Bedrock, say, here's a whole SRT file, finds X amount of interesting things, or wing it, go for it?
Yeah, yes, that's exactly it.
Any memorable moments, funny moments, we usually have several of those during a stream, or is it educational moments during the stream, and strip those out.
And the SRT files, do you create them, or is that just done from a sort of transcription-y kind of thing that also puts the timestamps on it, or you?
For our initial version. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Andres.
Yeah, so for our initial version, we're generating those SRT files. So we use Descript for our editing. So if you upload the video, Descript automatically basically adds the transcript for you, and we do an export of the SRT file there. That's one of the future things we want to do is, hey, directly from YouTube, pull that information instead of having to download, upload to Descript, then get the script, right? So kind of finding those gaps that we're engineers, we try to automate everything, even if it doesn't make sense. This is one of the other, once we find a manual task, we're trying to find a way to automate it.
Yeah, well, because Higgy does actually ask, would love to hear how you guys optimize the prompts and then perhaps used evals to test the quality.
I wish we were that advanced. Really, what happened with this project was a classic. 2 career backend engineers were equipped with something that allows them to do full stack really well. And we just feature creep the heck out of this thing. So, I'm just talking about one piece, but really what happens when you upload the transcript or the SRT, the subtitles file, it does so many things concurrently. It's identifying these different clips in the content. It is pulling quotes as well. I'll come back to what we were talking about, but I'm going to talk about how this blew up and why we haven't done all the prompts optimization yet. It goes in and pulls memorable quotes from it that would be really cool to share, and actually generates images with the quote and attribution to who said it on there. It creates a blog post as well that doesn't summarize what happened, but takes a core idea or set of core ideas that were the message inside of that blog or inside of that video, and is a kind of now what? What do you do with that information? It creates that, and this is all happening concurrently behind the scenes immediately when you do the transcript. So, we thought of all these things that we do manually, and we're like, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, and added them in. We haven't really circled back to the optimization yet. There's some that definitely need it, but it does a lot. It does a lot. So for me, the architecturally interesting thing was the actual clip generation, which is what we were going through earlier, because to get that to work in Lambda, you have to chunk it up into little pieces and use that manifest file to say, hey, I want seconds 35 to 42 and seconds 2 minutes, 52 seconds to 3 minutes, and put those in smashed together. So we did that with Step Functions workflow through MediaConvert, generating the playlist, and using Nova to kind of smash those ideas together. It's kind of a full circle. It was like a circle and a tangent, and came back and closed the loop. But it does a lot. And as we went, Andres and I went through and we're like, this clip is terrible. To address the how do we make the prompts better, it was manual. We don't have anything automated built in yet. That is, I would like to. That gets really expensive really fast when you start running AI to judge video content. We don't have that kind of money.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a cool project. Andres, what's next on here? What am I missing for something that's architecturally interesting from here?
No, I mean, that's the biggest piece, right? Most of the process is driven off the transcript, right? So when you upload that file to S3, it kind of blows up into several agents that are doing all the things Alan mentioned, right? The clip proposal, the quote, memorable quotes, the blog post generation, and we can show all of that, kind of the results of how all that looks like. But yeah, architecturally, like it doesn't seem like rocket science. I think the most costly piece we're running right now is the MediaConvert. It's pricey for 1 hour videos. But if you're doing bi-weekly, you're probably fine. So we can jump into, let me see, and show the application.
Yeah, let's have a look here.
How it looks. Alan was kind enough to add dark theme here, so it's all pleasant in our eyes. But this is how it looks, right? And I have a pre-built one because it takes a while to process a 1 hour video. But essentially how you start, and again, it's called Encore, but it does have a little bit of planning embedded in it as well. So if you're trying to ideate what the flow for my live stream should be, we should have used it for this, Alan. But yeah, we're winging it. We like to live on the edge. But here is like, okay, serverless office hours. So a little bit of information. What episode is it? Series name. Who are the speakers? So let's say it's Alan Helton, Andres Moreno. And this helps to match like the generation, like the quote, attribute the quote or who's speaking where. So I'll just do us two. And then a little bit more like your episode management, right? Where's the streaming? Just more information for your content management. We only do YouTube. What are the themes? Technology, we usually do AI, programming, cloud computing, and just your standard review, right? So you create your episode, and this is your start. And then you can go different routes here, right? You can go planning, or you already did the live stream and you can move ahead. So let's create a plan. And I do have a little bit here from like an existing episode that we did. But it's like, okay, what are your objectives? Demystification, grounding, clarification, shared understanding, just basic stuff that you try to convey from your episode. What are the concepts? It's like AI agents, tools. I'm doing one from the one we did for MCP tools. So it's contracts or tools as APIs, determinism. That's a lot to do with what we're trying to do. And then this, I'm just going to copy paste. I have a list of like talking points, like specific things you want to drive your episode and really, really acknowledge throughout the live stream. So you got like agents are not magic, tools are like APIs. This is basically a summary of what we actually talked about. So
sorry, just to jump in, is this before the stream for the planning of actually what you're going to cover in the stream? Okay, yes. just checking I'm in the right place.
Yeah. So this information gets sent to. Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
While we wait for that, yes. While we wait for that, one of the things that we always joke about when Andres and I are streaming is that while it always seems like we don't prepare, we actually do prepare a lot. And what we're doing right now is automating a process that Andres and I have done in Discord 50 times, where we'll be like, what do you want to talk about? And then we'll talk about, we'll just go back and forth, AI agents and tooling. And, we'll just have this very high level information. But Julian, you know this because you've been doing this show for a really long time. Just having bullets does not make for a nice flow in a show when you're actually live. So making sure that you're able to weave and jump topics in a way that makes sense instead of just, hey, let's talk about this now, it's really helpful for the quality of the show that you're putting out. So that was the objective behind the plan. So this is, let's get you there to the stream. Okay, Andres, handing it back to you.
Cool.
Okay. So you can see now that it came back, we have like a proposed title, a proposed description, like key learning moments. These are like key moments you want to try and hit on the live stream. So you have these memorable videos that you can then post to keep this going and just kind of get more engagement and be able to provide more knowledge to people in bite-sized videos. But you can see it proposes like a full outline, like, okay, intro and hook, 3 to 5 minutes, demystifying AI agents. What are they? What are the components? Then, hey, this is a demo artifact. This is something you can show. It's a diagram of the AI agent components. And understanding the tools, a code snippet of a tool, maybe with strands, and then the importance of clear contracts. This goes into like your open API or a different type of contract you're defining. So it just gives you the whole thing and then like a little diagram of how you can flow, right? So this is proposing. Again, you can iterate this as needed or take it, leave it, you don't like it, regenerate it. So because you can edit the plan, right? It's like, yeah, I really want to cover this point that we're not covering. You can edit it and it'll regenerate the whole thing. So this is, like we said, pre-live stream. Let's say you're fine with this. You execute your live stream. Let's move forward. So once, let me refresh. Once you did the live stream, you exported your video and you have your transcript. So let's move to upload, right? And I didn't organize my file, so we'll see what I see. I'll just look for here, I even called it Serverless Office Hours demo. You see, Alan?
You're all right. We couldn't see the file browser. You're okay.
Okay. So here's the SRT file, right? This is the transcript with the timestamp and the speaker labels. So you upload that. Once you upload this, it's when it starts triggering a lot of generation agents. While I'm here, you can also upload the tracks, right? So once you're recording, you can have either like the full stream, like what everybody's seeing right here, where we have Julian, Alan, and me, and the recording and the screen share. But you can also have the individual tracks. So you have my individual video, Alan's individual video. So you can upload those separately. So
it's always a risky click on when you're live.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to do the consolidated. But here you can select, okay, who are the speakers? So since it's the consolidated version of the video, we select both speakers. If I just had Alan's track and my track, I would do 2 uploads. Okay. So this will then go upload the video, and it'll do that chunking that Alan talked about in MediaConvert and all that processing. Like I said, that takes a while. So I'm going to jump into an already processed version of this.
So, what's interesting behind this as well is, when, and even, Higgy and I were talking about the prompt going in, you've also got a lot of context about what the show is and what was talked about and all that kind of stuff. So even though you would think, AI is going to wing it, in a way, you're giving it some good context. So it knows what the sort of input parameters to the live stream are. So the output parameters being the clips can be far more intelligently created.
Yeah, so a little bit more grounded because it has our plan that we wanted to execute. So it knows what to look for in the transcript and the video to be able to get those. We really wanted this learning moment in the stream. So it kind of goes and looks for that. Right?
That is included in the system prompts that we give some of these agents the information about the episode itself. So I don't think we give it the full outline, but we do give it the objectives and what the show is about. And then we say, and here's the transcript from it. Go ahead and get the things that are relevant to the show and use your tools to pick the stuff out. All right, Andres, what are we looking at here? So this is an already done one.
Yeah, this is one that already processed the video and the transcript. So like I said, the things it generates just based on the transcript is like, okay, a blog post out of what we talked about. So what it does here, it generates two things. It's the outline. So title, like bulleted list of basically your headings. What do you want to talk about or what you should talk about, summary, key drivers, and all that. And then it generates a full-blown blog post that you use as a reference. Don't just take it and upload it. You got to give it your voice, your writing skills, but you can see a full-blown blog post, code snippets based off of that outline. Cool thing you can do here is, okay, I don't like this. Let me edit it. So similar to what we had for the plan generation. So you can update the outline and it'll regenerate the blog post, or you can just edit the blog post for your whatever you want, right? So that's
huge time saver.
Yeah, just getting the outline is a huge time saver. Again, everything requires planning, live streams, blog posts, everything. So if you can get that skeleton, that's usually how I start one, and then, okay, start filling in the blanks. But yeah, super helpful. So you get the blog post. We already talked about the plan. Let's go through quotes first and then the clips, right? So quotes, we talked about, it's doing memorable quotes. So, and it gives attribution to who, because we're giving that SRT. So this, if you open it, it's generating an image, right? So this is creating a social media ready image. And as part of like your settings, there's individual settings or there's team settings. You can give it like a color style. What do you want?
Font.
The font and all those things you can change. And it generates this, right? So the name, obviously we don't like because it says test. So you can remove the title. Once I save this, it'll go and regenerate the image. And it generates with this, right? So a chatbot contains knowledge, and agent can execute actions.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that we know, because this was a fun part of the project for me, because this is an actual PNG. It's not a div that looks like an image. You can right click it and it actually has the image options in here. So you can actually just go in and take this and drop it into a social post and say, you know, whatever fun thing about the quote and direct people back to the full length episode. But we did use Lambda to generate that, which was a fun thing. Image gen inside a Lambda was something I don't think I had done well before.
Yeah, so you're not actually using AI to generate this PNG. It is a image gen with basically manually putting it together.
Yes. AI was used to identify the quotes, and then we have actual code that we wrote to go and build the PNGs.
Cool. And the last piece are the clips, right? This is kind of why we scope crept the hell out of this application while we were just looking for the clips. So here I have some. So I have I guess I already generated all of them, right? So here is just a proposed clip. So you can look at, let me click on it without actually playing the video. So it has a summary, but based on the transcript, it generates a summary and it gets the transcript of what we're saying. So you can get an idea before going and kicking off all that compute to generate. So one of the big pieces, and Alan, you did a lot of that, is the creating the segments and stitching the segments together. We've all tried to use FFmpeg several times and failed. It's a complicated process, but we got it here. But once you go and say, generate this clip, it's going to go and pull those segments based on the timestamps from the transcript that we already created within an agent, and then stitch those segments together from the videos. Based off of the metadata that got generated from the MediaConvert job. So it's kind of stitching all the pieces together here. And
I can't hear the video, but I'm going to assume it's saying what the transcript says.
I'll stop it there. I mean, I'll send a
We
link.
believe you.
Yeah. But it's you can see it's going from the transcript. If it was from 2 tracks, it would stitch the 2 tracks together. So it would show me and then Alan without like the full screen share, right? So that's kind of the ability there, because we found ourselves kind of doing that ourselves, right? For our videos, like, I don't want to show the whole thing. I want to show Alan and I want to show myself instead of the screen share, because it's more of a conversational learning moment.
And I think it's not shown here in the user interface, but there's usually a lot more to it than that. Like for YouTube Shorts, that's not the right orientation. But it is getting you to a place that's significantly further than, landing in front of an hour-long video that you have to edit. The agent, when it's generating these clip ideas, it also recommends B-roll. So what other video can I play on top of the conversation that kind of illustrates the idea that we're talking about as well? It doesn't generate it or anything, because we found that video gen is not great yet from scratch, but it does recommend some things that you can use to edit the video clip yourself to make it a little bit better.
Cool. So yeah, lots to go on. We had some awesome questions which are coming through. Some of the tech. Where am I even going back to? So actually, one of the questions which a few people asked, and I think Ball7D3, thanks for joining us via Twitch. I wonder if there's an AI service that could look at a downsample version of the whole video file to pull notable moments. And I suppose this is highlighting that you're actually being clever by the AI isn't actually interacting with the video at all. In a way, it's looking at the SRT file with a timestamp, so you're not having to dump a whole video and doing anything AI-wise with the video. So, and it's not even looking at the audio. So I don't think, it's not going to pick up that's something that you said, that's something exciting or that kind of thing. So is that accurate?
It could be a more advanced approach, but given the cost of things with video, pulling from transcript is probably the smartest and cost-efficient way we could do it.
Yeah.
Again, we don't get paid to do this, so we're not making money off the stream. So we try to keep it as cheap as possible. So working off the transcript, which is just text, so it's a text-to-text model that we're working with. Even the clip generation is just stitched manually by us, based off of the text-to-text generation that it did for just dumping out specific clip segments.
Do you even split those 2-second clips? Because if one, you've got 3 to 5 seconds and one, say 6 to 8 seconds and something is at 7, do you even split that, or just, go for a slightly longer script?
No, we do split that. That one, that's part of where we use AI, kind of. AI really is just giving us timestamps. Like, that's the only thing that we're actually using to do work, is pull it from here to here. And then we do math inside of Lambda to say, okay, well, if I need this second, that's going to be segment 45. And, we're going to offset it 15 seconds into that segment. And so we use FFmpeg to pull from that offset in that specific segment. So we download the individual segments from S3 into Lambda and then use it on that. Okay.
And Erie Edit's being very particularly interested in this. Great questions. So you're able to indicate which speaker is speaking in Descript. So my understanding, Descript is a tool. You give it the whole video. It does a sort of text-to-speech, speech-to-text, but then can it associate an actual speaker with the audio files?
Yeah, so something that's really cool. Once you upload a video, it'll give you an option to identify speakers, and it'll give you like a 5-second clip, and you select who is the speaker, right? So similar to what we saw when we created the episode where you specified speakers, you can do that in Descript. And then at that point, you kind of select from a drop down. Like it's Alan, it's Andres.
Okay.
And based on that, it knows who's the speaker. Like it's funny, we had the whole like 30-second intro video. It was trying to say it was me. And obviously it's neither. It's a weird voice generated by Suno. But yeah, once you export that, it has the names. One of the things we had to do is like the SRT file. You have like the first thing I said, and then it's just basically an array of everything I said after that. So you have to go back and track, okay, it was this person to look at that. Nothing too complex, right? It's just looping the top, but things we had to do.
Yeah. I did a whole video series, I think 23 videos or something, all about Lambda a few years ago, and particularly used Descript because it was such a different, interesting way to edit that you were literally cutting out words, because it wasn't video, it was audio, but you were just had the whole transcript over there and then cutting out words. And I remember even swapping a paragraph back, and it just sort of figured it out, and it was actually pretty amazing. Yeah, really clever, different way of thinking about it, because you're normally on waveforms and all this kind of thing, and to be able to actually edit audio by words was pretty cool.
It makes it more accurate, right? Because then you're fighting with like a stitching this. How much did I slide if you're editing on your phone, like how long I went too far, and then trying to find the perfect thing. So just removing like, I want to remove this sentence from here to here. Boom. It just goes away from the video. I love that. Cool.
And then Iriad's asking again, so it doesn't actually matter what even different format videos are, because it's just going to, FFmpeg is going to squash them together, because you're not having some convoluted AI thing that's going to do that. I think within whatever FFmpeg can do.
Yeah, so MediaConvert is basically transcoding everything to the same format. And so
even simpler. Excellent.
Yeah.
So other questions just based on the sort of prompt and everything, and I'll just Stefan Brucci, I apologize, I didn't pre-read that, so maybe messing up your name. Do you recommend using instructions for the AI agent, or is it not so important? I think you have said there were instructions. And then Higgy came back. I imagine you evolved that system prompt over time. It'd be interesting, how many iterations of your early prompt required versus one-shotting it with your latest your latest prompt. So how was your learning as you went through this of what to give the AI, how clever the system prompt would be, and I suppose the actual individual prompt for the video? Because we went through prompt standard for all videos, and then different. You have a user prompt or a prompt for each individual agent, or not? Or does it not?
Well, I mean, I have to keep saying, because we keep blurring this line. We don't use the agents for video at all. It's really only for the transcripts, only for text. But Andres and I, with this project, I think I might have footed a lot of the early work. We went on very high highs, followed by very frustrating frustrations with.
Isn't that normal development nowadays?
AI agents. Yeah, very much so. But it would just like not work, or the AI would do things that don't make any sense. I think the very first clip I ever generated through this app, I was extremely excited because something was visually showing in front of me. But the AI, or I think it was actual code, not the AI, but the code had flip-flopped the track. So it was a 2-track video where I gave it my feed, and I gave it Andres's feed. And the entire video that was generated was the opposite. So it was a video of Andres doing this, and then it would cut to me like doing the same thing, because what happened was it was showing Andres' video while I was talking, and then it was showing my video when Andres was talking, which is a funny one for clip gen. But once it actually worked, it was great. See, Andres wants to say something.
Yeah, I mean, with the prompts, it's a lot of trial and error, right? It's trying it out and watching it fail. And then, okay, I need to strictly tell you not to do this. And you're finding those edge cases. Again, Alan and I are not video producers or editors. So we kind of have to find our edge cases as we go. And it's like, oh, this is critical. And you have that critical section in your prompt saying, don't ever do this again. So it's just being very critical. And it's kind of your guardrails, but you have your guardrails that you're very specific in the prompt. And then you'll have your external guardrails to like, hey, don't let any of the outputs have profanity, which I think Alan and I have done very good in our live streams. We haven't said any bad words yet.
But you just need to check yourself in case.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the evolution with the prompting though is, let's get it to work. And it's like this for literally anything in development, not just with AI prompts, but it's like, let's get it to work. And then you get it to work and you understand a little bit better. And then you say, well, we could probably provide it some more context for a better result. And so maybe we're pulling in some data that the user entered or something that's about the show that we did, and give that in the system prompt and run it and feel like, well, you know what, maybe that's actually better as a data prompt, not inside of the system prompt, and shift it over into different types of prompting. And then you get what you want most of the time. And then you figure out, well, I can't guarantee all of the time. So you add guardrails in after the fact that verifies that, yes, this tool was called, it has the content in it that we want. If not, loop back and retry, for n number of times.
And we've iterated us even single agent to multi-agent, right? We're trying to do a single agent that did everything from the transcript, right? Via tools and all that. But the context gets blurry for the AI agent, where we decided to go single responsibility agent and got better results, right? So again, a lot of trial and error as far as the outputs and the quality of the outputs. And I think that's something we're going to see a lot as more people start building AI agents. It's not going to be perfect the first time. So keep the same mindset of get it working. The prompt's not going to be perfect, but get it to where it gives you a result, and then you can refine the result based on the prompt, the tools it accesses, and the context you're giving it.
But I think your sort of architectural thinking, which is something I've been talking about a lot recently, is actually doing less in the AI and doing more in the tools, or whatever you're calling in your code, because there's a sort of split between the non-determinism of your AI agent, which is incredible what it does, and then the determinism of the tools. So your example, for example, is going to MediaConvert and creating 2-second clips. There's no way MediaConvert's going to mess that up or just decide to randomly do 2.5 seconds or that kind of thing. And in a way, it's not quite a tool call, but in this whole agentic kind of world, it could be a tool call of call that, create the 2 seconds 2-second clips. Then when you are bringing, you're just using the AI to make stuff up, which is basically saying, look at my SRT file, find the cool kind of things, and then what are you going to do? Stitch those two together, grab that, do this. So all the do this kind of things, which are deterministic, I think you actually want away from your model separately, because those are going to be the things that you're going to control and use the agent for what it's good at is figuring out the next step, doing something creative, which is the non-determinism thing, and try and sort of have that handoff between the deterministic tools or code you're going to run, and then the AI agent kind of thing. So that's my thinking of how to set these up, because I know some people are building everything into the agents and going agent to agent and going going mad on that, and then it gets very complicated to try and reason about it.
And we've talked a few times about this, right? A big piece of agents and LLMs is determinism. So how do you provide more determinism when an LLM is reasoning, is abstracting things in tools. And I'll go as far as you don't need to call all the tools from an agent. If you need data, if the agent's going to need some piece of data, you can prepare it and give it to it, depending on the context window that you have, right? But you sometimes can inject that in the user prompt instead of having it call out for it, because maybe it doesn't call the tool. You don't know. So removing the dependencies on non-deterministic approaches the LLM can take is way better. And within the agent context, those are your tools, right? It has a strict input schema, a strict output schema. That's what it's going to get. So I try to abstract everything but like the LLM's reasoning. So if it needs to get data, put it behind a tool. It needs to calculate something. It's a mathematical approach. Go and call a tool, and don't just let the agent maybe hallucinate.
I think we did an entire live stream on this. I think it was our guardrails episode where the whole motivation behind it was, let's do everything that we can to not use an LLM. And that was very heavy into pre-processing, pre-data validation, and making sure that it's with 100% certain and ambiguous situation. Then you pass it into the LLM, and then you grade it afterwards. And if it's still not, still not what you want, go back and do it again. And even still, I think at the time, this was before Bedrock had structured outputs. So what we were recommending at that time was just completely discard the LLM's response and rely on tool calls for structured output. So make sure that it does this, and then go in and immediately check in Dynamo or wherever your system of record is for that data that it should have created.
And that's and what's interesting is what's interesting is that brings us back to normal application architectures. You have a Lambda function behind an API, or even forget Lambda, even forget serverless. You have anything behind an API. What do you need to do? You need to do input validation. You maybe if you're using type safe kind of things, you want to make sure your schema is correct. You want to make sure that whatever JSON blob you're sending back is in the correct format. This is software engineering 101, regardless in this whole AI world. And I think people sometimes forget that some of the basics that apply with software still apply. And in fact, you want to lean more into that because the more determinism you want to give. And I'll plug my, I did a reInvent talk on best practices for serverless with a bit of AI kind of things. And I was part of the message was, well, AI is just another workload. You've got to, even on your whole architecture diagram, which is great, your AI block is actually pretty small, but all the rest, the thing applies. You've got an AI behind there. How are you going to do rate limiting, input validation, as I said, authorization, security, blah, 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 all the kind of things. So
it's another tool in the toolbox. And I think we're at a very important point in time where people need to understand AI is not magic, right? All the practices still matter. You can't just tell AI to do something and it's magically going to work, right? It needs some structure around it. And it's not going to solve every problem, at least yet. So you got to be careful on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to execute. And I think the non-deterministic thing about AI agents is what we need to be careful of. It's abstracting everything and letting AI do what it's good at. And it's running with unstructured data.
Cool. He did also ask, just when you were talking about the multi-agent orchestration pattern, which I think you walked back from, but how do they communicate? How are you thinking about what was moving stuff back and forth between them?
Yeah, we intentionally didn't use the supervisor worker pattern on this one. This one, it was very clear what structure we needed. We want to do this, 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 and this. And we use step functions for that because it was a deterministic workflow that didn't have any variability into it. We didn't need supervisor workers. So it was just an orchestration that said, okay, now you run, and now you run, and now you run. I think even our first iteration was just using choreography. I think everybody was being triggered off of the same S3 event. But yeah, no supervisor because it was deterministic workload.
Something I wanted to ask, on your architecture diagram, you had agent call memory as something. What were you actually storing in the agent call memory? And just quickly roll back, I'll bring up the architecture diagram as well, because that's interesting, because agent call, for running agents, but I didn't see any agentic workload really running on agent call, but agent call has a whole bunch of capabilities that you can use separately. So I saw the memory and I was like, ooh, interesting. What made you pick that?
Andres, if I'm making this up, please call me on it. But the intent of that one was to actually improve the quality of the blog posts over time. So what we pass into agent core memory, the events are, I think it's segments of the transcript, or maybe it's the summary of the transcript. And we have the memory set up to pull out long-term memories of themes, motifs, topics, the way that you present things. And that is what's used, that's what's fed into the system prompt in the blog agent to say this is the voice that you're emulating when you're creating that content.
Ah, fantastic. Because I think that's a great, something that's piqued my interest is agent core memory. Instead of having to run your own infrastructure and, you know, store it in Dynamo or store it in a file somewhere, or even on S3, is actually use a sort of memory service, which sounds weird because you can also, you know, with agent core memory, you've got semantic search and all these kind of things. So yeah, it's an interesting way to think of your sort of LLM brain as a service. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
I like that.
doesn't show agent core runtime or anything. We did not implement with that. I do want to see if I move it to that, but right now, all the LLM logic is triggered via some Lambda functions. Yeah, so it's just triggered via Lambda function and Bedrock.
I mean, controversial question. Are you sort of actually running a sort of agentic workflow that loops around and does the whole agentic loop? Or are you running, you know, you're running your AI core within a Lambda function to just generate something? Is it actually an agentic loop?
Yeah, it's not a loop. A single do this, it does it, and we're done.
No,
it doesn't
and that's a good distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So cool. And yes, Sally, awesome Sally on our team. Yeah, the topic that I didn't know I needed is here. I know this is amazing. We're getting so much cool info from experts as well. Okay, we've only got a few minutes, but I also wanted to ask you, even personally, okay, maybe with this project as well, but development practices. I know you was using AI to code this as well. How are you thinking about AI coding and assistants and even agents in that whole part of it, and you know, skills files and MCP and all those kind of things? Just, you know, a minute each or something on that, you know, how your personal development is set up to create awesome things like this.
Do you want to go first, Andres?
Yeah, so this one specifically, we used Kiro and the spec-driven development that Kiro provides. So we have like 20 specs that we've created for this with all the requirements, design, and execution. We've both, Alan and I have both been using Kiro on our own machines and executing. So a lot of agentic development here. One of the things we found out early on is, and kind of I think a lot of us are trying to figure out, is like multi-team agentic development, right? Because you can go way too far and touch a lot of files with a single feature, or you're like, this other feature is so simple, let me just execute it. And we would end up with a massive amount of collisions and files and merge conflicts and overriding functionality that Alan did with my changes or vice versa. So there's still a lot of kind of like full software development lifecycle things that to figure out for like a multi-member team working with agents and doing a lot in a short amount of time.
Okay. But you did find that the spec was useful to at least iterate on what you were thinking about, like you're doing your spec for your live stream. This is the spec for the coding of it. That actually helped rather than just winging it in a vibe.
It kind of anchors you to understand what you're building, right? So you get a list of requirements. It's kind of standard software development. You would talk to the product owner, the product manager. It's like, okay, here are the requirements I need. That's where you're generating with the spec. And it's like, okay, then you go and design, you get an architect, and then you go to the task. Now you get the engineer. So it's still kind of like the standard flow. It's only that it's us engineers, architects doing the whole flow.
Cool. Alan, anything else quickly to add? Any tips and tricks or cool things that you've been doing with your AI coding setup?
Yeah, so I think there was a lot of understated experience in what Andres was saying that I just want to call out specifically is when you use the AI agents exceptionally well, you are thinking as a lead and you're not thinking really about code. You're thinking about the structure of the application. You're thinking about the product. You're thinking about how things interact with each other and not just, you know, shift this div 5 pixels to the left. It's a lot higher level that I think, Andres, you take for granted because you've been a principal for a long time. But thinking about it that way is, I find a lot of success building with that in mind.
Cool. Excellent. And Victor agrees 100%. Well, thanks so much. This was fantastic. Super interesting. A great use case. Lots of great stuff from you. In the show notes on YouTube as well, your contact details and everything. Thanks so much. Everybody else, we'll see you same time, same place next week for more awesome serverless goodness. Alan and Andres, thanks for spending time with us today. Thank you. Bye-bye.